Now, at the start of this week, a very familiar sight appeared on the streets of Lagos. The dreaded fuel queues have resurfaced again, and we understand that a similar case is happening in the nation's capital. Queues of anxious motorists began to build outside of most filling stations in the Federal Capital Territory on Monday, apparently as reports filtered in over the weekend about signs of scarcity in Lagos and environs. On Tuesday, that's yesterday, the situation appeared to have worsened as the queues outside major filling stations became longer than the previous week. In its reaction, the NNPC said on Tuesday that it had stepped up efforts to maintain stability in the supply and distribution of products nationwide. Group Public Affairs Division of the Corporation, Ohialegbe, warned consumers against panic buying, saying there was sufficient stock of products to last at least 25 days. Well, joining us in studio to discuss this situation is our energy correspondent, Olu Phillips. Olu, thank you very much for joining us on Network Africa. Thank you very much for
having me on Network Africa.
I'm going to make this very personal. I'm not interested in those long queues anymore. What's going on?
I think my contemplation would be that we are postponing the evil day until government does what it's supposed to do, which is to quickly deregulate. We will continue to go back and forth. Mind you, we're in July now, and that's the second half of the year. And if we don't do what we're supposed to do, we'll continue like this until about October, November. And you know what is associated with November and December as far as Nigeria is concerned.
Yes.
There's this apprehension, no money to spend, and people begin to sort of want to discredit the government. I think we also missed the opportunity on May 29 to actually do this. Industry watchers believe that on that day, the president should have announced that subsidy was removed. Whether we like it or not, that is the only way to go, and we must do it. We tried it in 2012, in January 2012, and everybody was crying. But the truth is, as it were, if you take into consideration the landing costs of how much you're supposed to pay without government subsidy, somewhere, somehow, between January and now, people are already comfortably paying that amount to get PMS even at the fuel station. At some point last week and upper week, fuel stations were selling as much as 120 from the pump, and people didn't mind. And what you have to pay if you deregulate is about 140, 150, depending on the market forces. So that's on one hand. On the second hand, what we have also now is what I call administrative problems and supply chain difficulties. I mean, if there isn't enough supply to meet demand, there will be scarcity. And right now, we are trucking all our petroleum products, mainly from the Bafo axis in a Apapa area, where there's congestion, and Lagos State Governor is moved to get them out of that place. You have about over 1,000 trucks trucking PMS with 300,000 liters on each of the truck from that axis alone. So if there's any flow, any cut in that flow, whether by trying to restore sanity to that area or not, or whatever, there's going to be scarcity. Thirdly, I'm not aware that the banks are giving anybody or opening any LCs for any marketer to bring in petroleum product. Mind you, if NNPC alone could do that, there won't be any need for major marketers. Now, the major marketers have stepped in on our demand as a country to say, help us take this LC, take this sovereign debt notes, go to the banks, get money, go and get this petroleum product supply. When you do, we will pay you back and also pay you the differential. That is not happening now because the marketers are being owed. Whether there is corruption in the system, whether there's less accountability in the system is secondary. Right now, major marketers, about 5 or 6 of them, are not bringing in product. Now you ask me, what has happened when there was an intervention? Interventions does not mean payment. That was simply an intervention. Appeals were made, and NNPC stepped up its stock. And remember that this stock has to do with swap arrangements. Some of this has to do with swap arrangements where you take the crude out here, take it to places like Côte d'Ivoire, refine and bring back, and you supply. Now, everybody's apprehensive. The body language of the president is not suggesting that the regulation will happen yesterday, today, or tomorrow. But is that the way to go? Yes. The president has to quickly, as much as possible, take a decision as far as this is concerned. Nigeria is not known to run administrative systems where permanent secretaries run ministries. It's not an issue of competence, but I'm not aware that PAMSECs as civil servants can speak. So in the Federal Ministry of Finance, for instance, who do you hold accountable? Who do you ask what is going on?
Just to round up, sir, you've basically given us the background to this. What do we do now? We're still being told not to engage in panic buying, but what do we do?
My contemplation again would be that NNPC has enough supply. But where are these supplies coming from? How do you distribute this supply? They didn't used to be the sole supplier. Now the nation has to rely on NNPC. So even if they have sufficient supply to last for 25 days, in getting that across the 36 states of the Federation is still going to be challenging because it's going to be coming from one source. Howbeit, like I said, we are postponing the evil days. The time to deregulate is now. Diesel has been deregulated, and can I tell you that in the north, diesel costs a little more less than here in the southwest. Because there are marketers out there in the north who go very close to Niger Republic refineries and bring in diesel. So they don't have to travel this far. So when you deregulate, you've opened the market. Those from the southwest can bring in from Lagos. Calabar Port will be functional, Rivers Port will be functional, and up there, people can bring it from Niger, from Chad, wherever, and we'll have sufficient supply.
Oh, look, we do hope we end up having sufficient supply, and if well, let's hope for the best. Thank you so much. Our energy correspondent from Channels Television, Olu Phillips. Thank you very much. I'd like to throw our question of the day out there. We're asking you how you're reacting to the rumors of fuel scarcity. Are you going into panic buying? What are you doing? Feel free to reach out to us either via email or Twitter. The address and handle are right there on your screen. Thank you so much for watching Network Africa right here on Channels Television. It's been a pleasure. I'm Cynthia Arel.